This is the first video for the introduction to Scratch coding. And the first thing we are going to do is get you set up with your account on the Scratch website. So in the browser of your choice, I would recommend Chrome. Go to scratch.mit.edu and then hit enter. And you should get to the site. This is the Scratch site that you're going to go to every time you are working in Scratch. So if I were you, I would go ahead and bookmark this website or write it down somewhere where you will remember it. To start off with, we are going to go to Join Scratch. Even if you already have an account, I'd like you to create a Scratch account with your St. Francis email. So you're going to choose a Scratch username. And that should be your ones that are like 19, the first two letters of your first name, and then your last name. I'm going to do, this is C. Kaplan. You're going to choose a password, make it the same password as all of your other passwords. It should be the same password for everything, the one you use to log into your computer. And then you're going to click Next. Then you are going to put in your birthday, which for me is October 1987. Female, country, fill it out for yourselves. Click Next. And then type in your email address. And you should use your St. Francis email address. Then click Next. It's going to think a minute. And then click OK, let's go. Click Never. So then you should open up a new tab, go to your email, and click the link in your email. I'm using a Gmail account I have for this. You guys should be in your St. Francis email. So when you get your email, it should look something like this. Please confirm the email address for Scratch. And in there should be a link. Click the link. And then you should be all confirmed. You should be ready to go. We should be here. I'm going to close out all my other tabs. So remember, if at any point I'm going too fast for you, pause the video, catch up to where we are. So what we're going to do today is we are going to go click on this folder up here. This is, if you hover over it, it says My Stuff. Whenever we go to access our projects, we're going to go to the My Stuff area. And we're going to start with a new project, because right now we don't have any projects. Once we have some projects, they will show up in this area here. So I'm going to click New Project, and it will take me to the Scratch editing page. So this is what it looks like when we're going to be editing a project. There's lots of different sections of the page. So we're going to go over those a little bit. This right here, where you've got that little cat character, is your preview. That's going to show you exactly what your programming looks like once you start running your program. Up here in this gray bar across the top, you've got a couple things like File, you've got Edits, you've got Tips and About. You also have some things like a Duplicate button, a Delete button, a grow or a shrink, so to zoom in or zoom out. You can give your project a title. And then you've got things down here like backdrops. You've got an area for sprites. And now sprites are going to be the little characters that are involved in your program. And then over here are all of your programs. And you've got different categories of codes that you can use. So you can see they're all color-coded based on the category that they are. So anything that's a motion 1 is blue, and then to add it to your code, you just click and drag and drop, and then it's added into your code. We're going to go over more of that later once we actually start putting together our code. There is a costumes tab, so you can add different costumes for your sprites. There is also a sounds tab, where you can record things, you can add in, let's see if I turn my volume up, you can probably hear this one. You can make your sprite meow, you can do all sorts of fun things. So those are the basic areas of the Scratch coding page. Now what we are going to do is we are going to start, this one is called the Pentagon drawing. So I want you to go up under Untitled, and we are going to title this Pentagon drawing so that we know this has a title, we know which one it is. And then what we're going to do to sort of help make things a little bit easier for us is we are going to change the background of this little code to one that will show us exactly where our character is. So what we are going to do is over in this area here where my mouse is hovering, we are going to choose a backdrop from the library. So you can do that by clicking the icon all the way on the left. Now there's lots and lots of different ones here. And what we are going to do is, while all of these ones are fun and everything like that, for the very first one that we're doing, I want you to scroll all the way to the bottom and choose the XY grid. Because it's going to help make things look a lot cleaner for us and help make things a little bit clearer for what we're doing. Click OK, and you should see that your background changes. And now where it says stage, we've got two backdrops. And over here, we've got, here's that blank one that we were just using. Here's this XY grid. What I want you to do is click on that blank one, click on the little X right next to it, make it go away and disappear. So we have just the one we're dealing with. So that's all we need to do for adding that background. And then what I'd like us to do is click over to scripts. We are going to start adding some code into what we're doing. So we have a sprite here. The sprite down here is the little character that we're going to be moving around. Now if you notice when I click on the stage or backdrop, there's nothing selected here. But when I click on the sprite and that little blue box is around the sprite, all of the code shows up. That means that when we have this blue box around this sprite, that we are programming for this sprite. If the blue box is around this background, we're programming for that background. We want to program for the sprite. We are actually going to change the sprite. If you click here, you can choose a sprite from the library. Now sprite is just what they call the little characters that are involved in our program. So we're going to click that. And we've got lots of different sprites here. All sorts of different categories of ones that we can use. Lots of different things we can do. What we are going to do is let's use the let's do this bear 2. We're going to click OK, and now we've got sprite 1 and we've got bear 2. So let's click sprite 1, right click on it and choose delete. We want to get rid of it so it doesn't confuse us. So click delete, and now we've just got bear 2. He's the only one there. Now I want to look and see what costumes bear 2 has. I want to see the different ways that I can make the bear look. So I'm going to click costumes up there, and now I see I've got this bear or this bear. Two different costumes. You see bear 2A, bear 2B. You can choose either one of them. I'm going to leave it on bear 2A. And I'm going to go back over to scripts. All right, now it's time to start adding the code in. We've got different categories of codes here. We've got motion. Motion is going to move the sprite in one direction or another somewhere on your plane. Looks is going to change how either the sprite looks, it's going to change how the background looks, or it's going to allow the sprite to say something. You see, say hello or think. You can even change the size. Sound is going to be any of the sound effects or background music. Pen is going to be drawing that happens on the screen. Data is a category we're not going to touch just yet, so you can leave that one alone. Events are only a few ones, but these usually start off our string of codes, so these are going to be very important. Control are going to be our repeats and things like that. You see repeat, wait, things like that. Sensing, we are not going to do anything with sensing in this one, so we're going to skip this one. And operators, we are not going to do anything in this one, so we're going to skip it. And we're also going to skip more blocks. We'll get back to those other ones later. So we are going to start with an event. So the first thing we need to do is we need to tell the code when to start. And that happens when this green flag is clicked. So anytime this green flag is clicked, it's the start. The red stop sign is the stop. So in order to tell the code to start, we need to click and drag when green flag is clicked. So that we know when the green flag is clicked, anything below it is going to happen. So after that, we want to send the sprite to a specific location on the page. So if we were to do that, we want it to send to a specific spot on the backdrop, on the stage. We're going to go into motion, and we are going to choose go to. I'm going to drag this one over because we're going to tell it to go to this specific location on the plane. And I want you to change those numbers to -150 and +30. So you should have those there. So we're going to have the sprite move around in a pattern. So we're going to have it continue to move. We're going to add a whole bunch of moving codes here, moving commands, a lot of go-tos. So we want a go-to after that. After we have our starting location, we want a go-to 0 and 125. Just click to type those in. And then we want it to pause for just a second while it's there before it moves on to the next location. So we're going to go to Control, and we're going to go to Wait. We're going to change the weight to 0.1. And then we're going to go back to, actually, go up here, click your duplicate. And we want to duplicate these two, the last two. So I'm going to click right where my mouse is, click right there, and then it's going to duplicate. I'm going to drag it down. And I'm going to do that until I have 5. So once you have 5, you see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to change these locations here. The next one's going to be 150 and 30. I'm going to leave it at 0.1, wait. The next one's going to be 100 and -120. Go down to the next one, -100 and -120. And that final one's going to be -150 and 30. So now what should happen is if we were to click this green flag, it's going to move him around the screen. So go ahead and click the green flag up here, and you should see him moving. And he's only going to move a couple positions. And every time you click the green flag, he should move. Now, say we want him to keep moving over and over and over and over and over again. We want him to continue to repeat forever. We are going to go under Control. There is a forever one. Now, if you look, it looks kind of like a mouth. And what that means is as we drag it over, it's going to grow. See how it grows a little bit there? We want it to go right there. So it's going to repeat these 5 positions. So now if I click it, he just keeps moving and moving and moving and moving and moving and moving and moving. Just keeps going. All right, now that we've got him moving around sort of in this pentagon circle shape, we're going to tell him to stop because otherwise he will not stop moving until we click this little stop sign. So go ahead and click that. And then he should pause in wherever you end up landing when you hit the stop sign. Now we're going to want him to draw and make a line to trace his path. So to do that, we are going to go to the pen section. So go to the pen section, and you should see a whole bunch of different pen options. So we're going to start with set pen color to. So we're going to click this one because that's going to change the pen color. And we're going to drag it over and we're going to put it right below there. Because we want the bear to first start by going to this position, and then we want the pen color to change. And then we want to change the pen size right here so that we have the ability to control the size of the pen that is put down on the little screen. And then we need to tell it one more thing. Something that's very important. We need to tell it to actually put the pen down. So we're going to drag that one over. We're going to drop it right there. So now when we hit the little green flag, it should do something different. So we hit that green flag, and you see that it's drawing a pentagon. So go ahead and hit the stop sign again. Now what I want you to do is I want you to click and drag your sprite anywhere on the screen that's not on the path. And we're going to hit the green flag again, and we're going to see what it does. It's going to do something a little bit different this time. Go ahead and hit the green flag. So if you hit pause, you're going to see that your sprite probably did something like this, where it drew an extra line, and now you have this extra line sitting there. So to fix that, to keep that from happening, what we need is a clear piece of code. So we're going to drag this clear code all the way over to be the first code for the pen codes, so that it's going to clear anything else that's there before setting the pen color, before setting the pen size, and before putting the pen down. So it won't make any more symbols like that. So if we go and click the green flag now, we should see that that extra line disappears. And if we drag our little dude over and hit it again, it's not going to make any extra lines that we don't need. So go ahead and hit pause now. So now we've got our pentagon, but I want to add a little bit more to our little drawing. So I want us to go back to the motion side. And we are going to look for, there is a control, a piece of code that controls motion and it controls the speed. So here we had pauses built in, we had to alternate, then we have the location. There's a piece of code here that does both, and that is the glide. So I want you to drag this glide over, and I want you to have 5 glides. So I'm going to copy that one and use my duplicator tool again to copy 2 more down, drag over 1 more. So we have 5 total. And I want you to copy the same measurements down into your glide. So all of our timing is going to be 0.1. And then I want it to glide to 150, x equals 150, and y equals 30. Then glide to a 0.1 speed, and it's going to glide to negative 100 and negative 120. It's kind of guessing a few of them for you, which is great. Our glide speed is 0.1, x is going to equal 0, y is going to equal 125, glide equals 0.1 seconds, then we've got 100 and negative 120, which are right there for us, 0.1 again, and negative 150, and 30. So yours should look like this. And then once you have all of these in, you can go ahead and click, don't click the green flag yet, because I want you to look at the difference between this pattern and this pattern. So with the glides, it's going to move slightly slower, and you're going to see that once it starts moving. These are a little bit of a quicker, more direct motion. These are a little slower, a little less direct. So go ahead and hit the green flag. And you're going to see that since we still have the pen down, it's also drawing another shape for us, because it's still going hitting all of those same points, but now it's going in between them. So you can hit stop there. All right, there's one more thing that we want to do, and that is we are going to create a string of code just for the pen. So we want this to start as soon as the green flag is clicked, but we want it to be separate than the code for the bear, for our sprite. So we're going to go to events, and we're going to drag this over. So we want 2 simultaneous pieces of code, 2 things that are going to happen at the same time. And so our pen code, we want the pen color to change. And we want it to change forever. We want it to be repeating over and over again. So the first thing we need, if we want it to repeat forever, we're going to go to Control. We're going to drag over that forever. The second thing we need is a pen command. So we're going to go over to Pens, and we want the pen color to change. So we're going to change pen color by, drag that over and drop it. And I want you to change that value to 1. So now when you click the green flag, it's going to do something very different. Go ahead and click it. Now if you notice, both pieces of code are running simultaneously. They're both highlighted in yellow here, and the color of the pen is constantly changing. So now what you can do is you can do a couple different things. I'm going to hit pause there. You can change the pen size. You can also go to the glide and change these to maybe a different speed. I'm going to do a whole bunch of changes all at once. I'm changing all these to 1. I'm also going to change pen color by 10. So now when I do it and I hit the little flag, it's going to do something very different. So you see I changed the speed there, so he's moving a little bit slower. The pen color is also changing more frequently. The pen size is also thicker. So you can play with all of the variables in here to make it do whatever you want. If you wanted to draw a new picture, which is what your assignment's going to be, you would need to put in different locations here. So different X values, different Y values. You're going to need to map out your drawing, figure out where you need your sprite to go to make that drawing on the page. It can be as simple as something like this, or like a pentagon, or it can be as complex as you like. So if you have questions, check out the help resources, ask in class, and start working on your assignment. Look for your assignment on campus.